Hello everybody and welcome back to my channel, or if you're new, welcome. I'm Mads, and right now my best friend slash roommate is kind of just like watching me film because that's what happens when you live together. This is my new apartment and we are all moved in. For the most part, I don't have a bookshelf in my room anymore. I just have this glorious built-in bookshelf that I use for, let's be real, most of my books. There are some of her books on here, but it is mostly my books. That's that fun little update. The weather today where I live is very fall vibes. I mean, fall here is kind of cold, wet, and windy, so it's not as great, but the vibes are falling today. So I decided to do a fun video of all the books that I want to read this fall. Or actually, I'm going to do like a couple of different things. I'm going to do all the books I definitely want to read this fall, books with fall vibes that I want to read this fall but may not get to, and the books that I've read before with fall vibes that I'm just recommending you. So I'm going to dive into it and hope this doesn't take too long. But there are a lot of amazing books that I want to get to this fall and that just have amazing fall vibes because I love reading books in fall. It's just so perfect and I love it. Starting off, I have One of Us is Back by Karen M. McManus. If I reread, what's the book called? Oh crap. Thank you. If I reread One of Us is Lying, it will typically be in the fall. I love having mysteries in the fall. I don't know why, but they just fit the fall vibe so well. Like a good murder mystery, that's fall. That is fall. So I want to finish this series this fall and I can't wait. I got the advanced reader copy and yes, it's out now. So there's no point to have an arc, but I do and I'm gonna read it. So I'm very excited. I can't wait to get to this conclusion of this amazing series. I don't actually know what this third book is about. I do know that Nate is a POV character, and that's really all I know about this book. So I'm gonna go into it fairly blind, just because I love these characters, and I love this setting and world that Karen M. McManus has pulled me into. So she's an icon, and I love her. Next up is a book I just recently bought myself for my birthday, and that is The Naturals by Jennifer Lynn Barnes. It's about this program within the FBI where these like really gifted teenagers like come in and help them, and it's just so Criminal Minds. And I heard it has found family. I heard it has a love triangle, which throws me off, but I will ignore that for the found family. This book just sounds amazing and I love Criminal Minds, and it just sounds like it would be perfect for the fall vibes, like FBI, murder mystery. I love watching Criminal Minds in the fall. It's been everywhere lately and I just really want to read it because I've just heard really good things, so I can't wait. Next up, I have The Thieves Gambit by Kavion Lewis. I do this all the time. I never know the authors of the books that I want to read. This is just like a fun mystery and I just can't wait to read it. It feels like it would give fall vibes. I'm not entirely sure, but I really do want to read it this fall. And yeah, I think it's these two thieves like kind of like racing against each other to get this one thing, and that just sounds really good. Next one is another iconic Jennifer Lynn Barnes book, and that is The Inheritance Games. And I know Elsa is gonna be very excited to see this book in this video because I feel like I've been meaning to read this one for a really long time. And I actually just recently acquired the second one. Somebody sent it to me off my wish list, and so I need to read it. It's about this girl who kind of like, okay, so this rich guy dies, and his grandkids and this one girl have to compete for the inheritance. And it very much gives the 39 Clues, and I loved that book when I was a kid. I know there's a love triangle in this, and so that's gonna kill me, but hopefully that everything else makes up for it. I have two classics next, and I feel like classics fit the fall vibe just so well. You get that touch of like academia, typically like this dark academia, and classics just feel so fall. So this fall, I really, really, really want to read and annotate Little Women. I have never read Little Women, and I feel like that's a crime because I adore the movie. And I always have, like, I grew up off this movie, and I need to read this book. So I'm going to read and annotate it, and I can't wait for that. I am pretty sure everybody knows what Little Women is about, but it's about these 4 sisters, and it's kind of this coming of age story set in like the 1900s, and I just can't wait to read it. I can't wait to see all these like aspects that I'm sure the movie missed, because the book always dives in deeper to just about everything. So I can't wait. I can't wait. And then next up, I have a book I've been meaning to read forever, and that is The Picture of Dorian Gray by Oscar Wilde. I haven't seen the movie. I think I'm going to read this book this fall. I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna actually sit down and read this book this fall, and then I'm going to try and find the movie with Ben Barnes. For no reason other than the fact that I read the book. Obviously, it's not just because Ben Barnes is in it, and basically every scene that is in that movie is used in a serious edit because he is Sirius Black. Anyways, next up is another adult dark academia book. I guess not another, those two are classics. These are different categories. Next up is a adult dark academia book, and that is If We Were Villains by ML Rio. I'm gonna do it. I'm finally gonna read it. I've heard amazing things, and just even looking at it, this gives fall vibes. Everything I've heard about it, every edit I've seen, it all gives fall vibes. These people were like Shakespearean actors in like college, and they commit murder. So that is very much dark academia fall vibes. Dark academia and fall go so well together, and I will not explain any further. Next up is a YA dark academia book, and that is Ace of Spades. This book has always looked so good, and I remember buying it and thinking, oh, I need to read this in fall. It's about these 2 students who get invited to this private school secret society, and just a lot of dangerous stuff goes down. I love the idea of secret societies. Like, that's just always been something I have been obsessed with, and I don't read enough books with like a secret society in them, and I need to, because that's iconic and it just sounds amazing. Next up is one that's going to destroy me, and that is A Little Life. I'm scared. I really don't even know what this book is necessarily about. Oh, 4 college classmates. Hey, I'm in college. It's about these 4 college students who are all like friends and kind of just moving to New York to find fame and fortune and live life with each other. And it just seems really good. I heard it has a great found family. I also heard that it will make you sob. Like, even like, look at the cover. Like, this does not look like a feel-good book. But I'm going to read it, and then this is actually not my copy of this book. This is my best friend / roommate's copy. Thank you, Laurel, for letting me borrow this one. She is also going to read and annotate this one. I'm not going to annotate it because it's not my copy. I am going to read it, and then she's going to read it, and then we can cry about it together. So I can't wait for that. Next up is a book I have been meaning to read for the last 2 years. I've always told myself, if I'm reading it, it's gonna be in fall. So I'm going to read it this fall, and that is Dialysis by Olivia Blake. This one is about this like competition kind of, where these 5 or 6 people are competing to be the protectors of the Library of Alexandria. It just looks amazing. It sounds amazing. I've heard amazing things about the characters. I need to read this. Also, the book has character art in it. I don't know who this is, but I'm kind of in love with her. I don't know who this character is, but she's gonna be my favorite. I think they're all actually really hot, not gonna lie. Also, there's this one guy in here that I don't know. See, I don't know any of the characters' names. Oh, there he is. I don't know who this is, but I'm in love. Also the art style, I am going to read this. Those are the books I definitely want to read this fall. I don't know when I'm gonna get to them, but I do know at some point between the 1st of September and the last day of November, all of these books will have been read. Mark my words, it will happen. Okay, now are books that I would like to read this fall. They have fall vibes, but this is already a lot of books, so I'm not sure if I'm actually gonna get to them. But here we go. Okay, I haven't read this book all the way through because it's a book of poetry. I read a couple of the poems, but I want to read all of the poems in Milk and Honey by Ruby Kaur. Her poems are just gorgeous and the art in them is just so cute and I love. So I need to read it cover to cover. The only other poetry book I've read cover to cover is The Truth About Magic by Atticus. So I need to read another poetry book and see if maybe I want to keep getting poetry books or maybe not. So we'll see about that one. Next one is another amazing classic. Just because I have 2 classics lined up for this fall, I don't know if I'm gonna get to a 3rd one because I'm not a big classics girly, so I don't want to like push myself too far. That is Pride and Prejudice. I haven't even seen the movie, and I feel like that's a crime, but it is Pride and Prejudice, and it gives fall vibes, such strong fall vibes. So I just need to read it. And then I also want to read, but I'm not sure if I'm going to like end up reading it, The Hobbit. I love the Hobbit movies. They just make me really happy. And I need to read the book. This copy is actually gifted from the amazing Laurel. Another book that is a classic fall vibe is a book I've never read before, and I don't want to be judged by that, but I also don't want to be judged for reading it either, because I don't think I'm gonna like read it to actually enjoy it. I just want to read it to read it. It's so well known, I just need to read it. Twilight by Stephanie Meyer. Everybody already knows what Twilight is about. I don't need to explain that to you, but I watched the movies and they are kind of fun to watch, so I think it would be a really fun time to read Twilight. Am I gonna like it? Probably not. But I want to read it. I bought it just for my best friend Laurel because she said she wanted to read it. And I was like, you know what, I'm gonna get it and then we can both read it. Next up is Dance of Thieves by Mary E. Pearson. I don't know why, but this book just gives me such strong fall vibes. It's just about these 2 characters that like come together in this battle, war, I really don't know. Okay, I really don't know what this book is about. I feel like I've talked about it a little bit before, but I think it has found family and it just looks really good. The fall vibes are there. Just look at the cover. This cover is giving fall. Next up is a book that actually has been kind of blowing up a little bit lately, and I am so happy that it is. I haven't read it yet, but I've owned it for about a year now. And it is an independently published adult fantasy called Fear the Flames by Olivia Rose Darling. I have just heard amazing things about this book. Do I know what this one is about? Again, no. I go into books blind so much, almost to the point where I never know what they're about ever. So that's probably a problem because I'm literally here to tell you about books. But this one is just giving fall. 5 people, all united through revenge, will have to transcend the odds stacked against them and infiltrate the impenetrable castle if they want to reap the rewards before someone reaps their souls. It's giving 6 of Crows. This feels like it'll have a found family in it. And they have a dragon on the cover, so I should move that up, actually. Then I have The School of Good and Evil by Soman Chainani. I feel like this just gives fall vibes. You know, it takes place in a school. This school where there's like a good school and an evil school where you basically just like get trained in each aspect. It's giving fairy tale. It's giving Ever After High. I feel like I'm exposing myself with that one. I used to love that show. I want to read it, and I know it has a Netflix series out now with Kit Young in it, so I definitely need to read it. And it is a juvenile book, so it would go by pretty quickly and it would just be like a fun read. It just looks like it would be a great fun fall book to read. Next up, I feel like this is fall vibes, and I don't know why, like I can't explain it, but it's either fall or winter, and I feel like it's more leaning into fall. and that is the Infernal Devices by Cassandra Clare. This just continues the world of Shadowhunters. It takes place a really long time before the original series. I forgot what the series was called. Like the City of Bones, and I don't know why I can't remember the name of like the actual series that it's called. Like it's on the tip of my tongue, but I can't seem to remember it. This takes place like in the 1800s. I've been told that it kind of gives steampunk vibes, and it has found family. I do know it has a love triangle in it too, but I will live. And I've just heard really amazing things about these characters. Maybe I'll read the first one this fall and report back to you guys. Next up, I have another adult fantasy, and that is The Night Circus by Erin Morgenstern. This one is about these two competing magicians who use this circus, the Night Circus, which just pops up randomly without notice, to kind of compete against each other. It just looks amazing, and I don't know if this one is more fall or winter vibe, but I just think it would fit either, honestly, and it just seems so like romantic and fairy tale-esque. It reminds me a lot of Carval, and I just really want to read this. And then I have another book by Erin Morgenstern, which is The Starless Sea, and it's about this guy who gets just dragged into this storybook kind of, and now has to be like led through all these like masquerade balls and these adventures. So yeah, The Starless Sea, I really want to read this one. I've wanted to read this one for a while. For whatever reason, I get fall vibes from those two. Now it's time for books that I have read that give very nice fall vibes, and most of them are mysteries. I love reading mysteries in fall. I just associate the mystery genre with fall now, and so most of my book recommendations for fall are probably gonna be mysteries. I have All Your Twisted Secrets by Dana Urban. I've read this. I didn't love it, but I do think the premise is just really cool. It's about these 6 teenagers who all get invited to this dinner together and all get locked into this room and are told, unless you kill one of the people in the room, you're all gonna die. And it was just so intense, and you're learning so many things about all these characters. You don't know who put them there, and you don't know who they're gonna kill, and the entire time, like, the second you start leaning towards one character, something happens and you're like, oh wait, it's not that character, it has to be this one. So it was really interesting, and I recommend it. Like, I didn't love it personally, and I don't remember why, because it's been a while since I read this, but I do think it gives fall vibes. The next one is They Wish They Were Us by Jessica Goodman. This one is about another kind of like, not really secret society of this private school, just this like group that, you know, they get a lot of privilege and access by being in this group. They get answers to tests, they get like into better colleges just by being a part of this group, and one of the members got killed by her boyfriend a while ago, or at least they think it was the boyfriend that killed her, and the main girl in this book kind of is like, I don't think it was the boyfriend, and kind of like reopens this whole mystery of who the heck killed my best friend, kind of. She also realizes a lot of things about herself in this book and this group of students too, and I didn't love it, but like I didn't love the characters, and I think that's what threw me off, but I do think it is a great fall read. This one technically kind of takes place at the end of summer, beginning of the school year, kind of. But that is A Good Girl's Guide to Murder. I just absolutely adore this book, and the mystery is just so intense, so amazing, and keeps you on the edge of your seat the entire time. I think it's a great fall read just because of the mystery, and I guess kind of the timing of it, because it does take place at the like end of summer and beginning of the school year, which is kind of where I'm at now. The next book is one that I've already kind of mentioned before, but this is like my official recommendation of it in the video, and that is One of Us is Lying by Karen McManus. Kind of already dived into this one, but this one is about these 4 characters who are in detention when this guy Simon just dies, and then they're all under investigation for the murder of Simon, and it's just amazing, and I love this book so very much. And I feel like it gives fall vibes. Like, I always liked to go back and reread it during fall. I think 2 years in a row I did that, so I just associate it very strongly with fall now. This next book, I really genuinely cannot explain why it has fall vibes, but it just does. And I don't know if I'm alone in this or not, but These Violent Delights by Chloe Gong. These Violent Delights is this Romeo and Juliet retelling set in 1920s Gangrang Shanghai. and it's just amazing. I don't know why, but it just gives me fall vibes. Maybe it's the cover, maybe it's just the premise, I don't know. Maybe it's a tragic love story of Romeo and Juliet, but I just love this book, and I think it would be perfect for fall if you are looking for something like that. I also have The Raven Boys by Maggie Stiefvater. I read this last year, and it's kind of an urban fantasy about these 4 teens looking for this dead Welsh king, because if they find this king and awaken him, they will get one wish. And it's amazing, and I think it just gives very strong fall vibes. Very, like, I know one of the books takes place during the summer, I think, but it's still just like the series and the premise, just all the vibes give fall, so I like to recommend it for fall. And then last but certainly not least, it's one of my favorite books ever, and that is Cemetery Boys by Aiden Thomas. I mean, just look at this book. This book takes place during Dia de los Muertos, and this character is trying to prove himself as a Brujol, which protects the mortal world from the land of the dead. And they kind of they balance it. Like, there are some like ghosts and people who kind of like come and they're good, but after a while they need to like get rid of them because they turn bad, and they kind of just protect everybody. And our main character, Yadriel, is trying to prove himself as a Brujol. It's just an amazing queer story, and I just love this book so much. And Yadriel has my heart. I love all these characters, and the fall vibes are just perfect. If you're looking for a book to read this fall that just gives the fall vibes, read this. I'm begging, and then talk to me about it, because not many people have read this book, and I need more people to talk to about it because I just adore this book. Those are all the books that either I want to read this fall or I think would be perfect for you to read this fall. Thank you all for watching. Please like, comment, and subscribe below. Let me know your favorite fall reads or some books that you would recommend for the fall. Again, thank you, and I will see you all next week for my August wrap up. Bye!